Hi, I'm Steve Kostansky, director of Frankie Freako, Psycho Gorman, and co-director of The Void, here to tell you to check out the Carlisle Cult Cinema Club. Check out their Facebook page and their YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe and do all that good stuff. While you're at it, check out The Instructor. Pretty fun movie. Bye.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, PD, back with another Carlisle Cult Cinema Club Presents. And in this episode, we've got the brilliant, fantastic, he's been on British TV as a regular for nearly 30 years, Dominic Brunt in conversation. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. It's an honour to be part of it. I'm glad we managed to get together.
I am as well. Folk might be wondering why there's no picture of Dominic. We can't see his lovely shiny face.
It is shiny as well, yeah. My camera's down.
That's it. Camera's down, so we can't. So we've still got him on audio, so it's all good in the hood. Thank you for being here. It's an absolute honour and a pleasure to have you on the show finally.
Oh no, well the feeling's mutual. I love what you do. I just think it's fantastic. I wish I had something around here. I just think you're proactive in the culture and your surrounding area, and I'm in awe of you, and I admire you massively.
Oh well, thank you for that. Wasn't expecting that at all. That's
that was the $5 you owe me.
Yeah, that's that'll be a tenner for that. So everybody knows you as the lovable Paddy Kirk on Emmerdale Farm. See, I still call it Emmerdale Farm.
Yeah, people do. Everybody does. It seems to be a thing. It's really stuck.
Because that's how I first watched Emmerdale, I suppose.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Annie Sugden. I remember lunchtimes it being on in the telly. Yeah,
Mr. Wilkes.
Yeah. Amos Brealey.
Seth, man, he was brilliant.
Well,
Seth.
I worked with Seth, was still there. Stan Richards was still there when I first joined. He was there for a few years.
He was a great character.
He was. He was always on. He always told jokes all the time. You couldn't stop him. And when you're trying to learn your lines in your head, you hadn't had a chance because he'd be at your head telling you a new joke. You just seem to have millions of them.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. But we're not here to talk about Emmerdale. We're here to talk about your illustrious directing career.
Illustrious. Well, I'm a bottom feeder.
You're not a bottom feeder at all, mate. You can see. I mean, I've just watched, except for Bait, I've rewatched all your films again over the last couple of years.
You poor sod.
Wolf, Manor and Evie today. Watched them this morning. So yeah, but kicking off 2013, Before Dawn, an excellent zombie film, but it's more than a zombie film. It's about relationship disintegrating more than anything, and thoroughly enjoyed it from when I first saw it.
Did you see it at the time then? So you've seen it twice now?
I've seen it when it first came out. Oh no, I've seen it more than twice. I bought it on DVD when it first came out.
Right, yeah. Oh yeah, it was on DVD first and it came out Blu-ray about literally 10 years later or something like that. It was on Blu-ray. Which
I own a copy of the Blu-ray signed. You know, a fan, what can I say? I don't know. But no, Before Dawn, it's excellent. So why was it well, I've heard it was all down to an argument you and your lovely wife Joanne had been having about what makes a good zombie film and what doesn't.
It was more to do with what doesn't, really. I think because I was watching a lot of zombie films at the time, I still do now, really. Although they're a bit fewer and further between now. You could always find a gem. You could always find 5. If you watch 5 shit ones, one of them would always be good and worth sticking with. And I think that's still the case, but they just don't seem to be around anymore. I remember there was a film on, and I wish I could remember the film because I was telling somebody this the other day, and it was about indie filmmaking, an American film, and the budget had dropped out, and they said, "Oh no, we've only got enough money to make a zombie film now." And you think, so it does seem to be the go-to low-budget genre film that filmmakers or first-time filmmakers had made. And so I was watching a lot of these because I was programming the Leeds Zombie Film Festival. So Jo got roped into a lot of them, and she was just going, "These are just shit. These are just awful." she just said they're one-dimensional, and it's the same thing. It's either the army or a group of kids, and they come across the zombies and they get killed. And I was like, yeah, exactly. Line them up and kill them, rah! And then they turn into zombies and more. Give it me every day. And it was it was a discussion of what she would do, and she was saying, well, the differences between us two, like she's from the south and from the north, she's female, I'm male. There's lots and lots and lots of things. So different classes. She's middle class and working class. And we like each other for the differences, but it also causes slight tensions as well. So she said, well, why don't you base it on that? And it was great. She came up with this allegory of it was the disintegration of a relationship set against the disintegration of the world and society and the community, and in the face of this apocalyptic happening that was going on around them outside the house, and that was mirrored with what was going on inside the house. I thought it was great, So a friend of ours, Mark Illis, who's a great writer, script writer, we did the whole thing of the postcards on the table and writing the scenes out and the shape of it, but we just didn't have. I didn't really know about dialogue then. I wasn't that confident with it. So Mark Illis did a great job, fantastic. And then we filmed that. We just went around, and we didn't have enough money to make. We didn't have enough money for a film, really. We had £15,000, I think, at the time. But the advent of digital filmmaking was around then. It was the start of like 2K cameras, certainly high definition, and you could like 1080, and they were broadcast quality. And I think it was 5Ds and the 7Ds. I think ours was 7Ds. And so we filmed them on them with little fig rigs around the house and worked it out there. And it was either that or wait until we got the budget together. But Helen Grace at Left Films gave us that money as a starter. But Mark Price that did Colin, who's a genius at making a budget go far, he was great. He's like, don't make any short films, don't do it. Use this money to do this, and we'll turn up, and it's 7 days, and then a few more. And if we stay at your house, we stick to a schedule, and if you direct it, and you're in it, and you and Joanne are in it, and if you learn how to edit, you can do this, that, and this. So I was like, all right. It was an enormous amount of work, but it was really, really rewarding. And I'm really glad I listened to him, because I said, we were trying to get a director, we were trying to get an editor, and that would have been the £15,000 gone straight away. It would have been, and also, the dub mix is 50% of the film. It takes weeks every time. I think before dawn, I had a crack at it, and I had to get in a proper dub mixer, thankfully. A friend at work, Chris Greaves, who's stuck with us and does all our films. And it's one of my favourite parts of the filmmaking process as well, that 6 to 8 weeks at the end where you're doing the sound design. I loved that. But yeah, sorry, that was a very long answer to a very quick question.
No, not at all. It's a great film. It's got a beautiful score that really suits the film.
Yeah, Tom Ragsdale again. He's done everything. It was only when Joe was filmed in Serbia. That was that was a much bigger budget, and we'd have liked to have taken a lot of friends with us. I was only the screenwriter for that, but. Yeah, that was kind of out of our hands, but otherwise we get Tom Ragsdale for absolutely everything, because I just love him to bits, and he just gets us, and he knows what we're up to now. Now, like, I think there's 5 films on, 6 films including Broken Bird, and which is Joe's film, really. And I just couldn't imagine making a film without him, really. And he even says, "Oh, I know all your little tricks now. I've seen certain scenes." And you go, "Oh, that was like that one. You've got an identity now." I was like, "Oh, right, cheers." But he's great. He's fantastic.
I know it is all the films. You can tell it's the same person,
right?
Because there's certain slight motifs, if you know.
Yeah, I'd say the motifs. I was just going to use that word. Yeah, there's little bits that you like. You throw away the crappy bits, and hopefully you're getting better. And you think, oh, that didn't really work. Oh, I really didn't like that shot. The shots in every film that I've done that I've got, oh, why did I do that? That looks lazy now, or it looks a bit dated, or I'd lose that. And also watching films all the time and then going, oh, Jesus, I really like the way they did that. I really want to use that for that film. So I've got books lying around everywhere with script ideas and then shot ideas and dialogue ideas and scenarios and things like that you want to make your own and bring them into the way you would do it. And it's just waiting for a time to do that. And otherwise, because And at the same time, I think Before Dawn has some great shots in it, but it's just all handheld. It's that shaky cam that people used to do. It's almost found footage. It's like a candid way of shooting things. Well, you know, sorry, I missed that.
It's quite claustrophobic.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, I just watched it again yesterday, and that was one of the things, you know, how claustrophobic it was. And it's nice because it's like a slow, you know, as everything's disintegrating between you and your wife, everything's disintegrating outside, which you said mirrors everything. And claustrophobia just works so well with it.
Yeah, I think the idea was to keep it in the house and never go outside the house. And I think at one point there was an idea of trying to write it where it was just in that front room kitchen bit and it was all going on, but it was too restrictive. In the end, it would have been an exercise, and it would have been for the sake of itself, really. And by the time you got, and also outside here, you only look out the window. There's these rolling hills. You point at a camera, and it looks beautiful. And you're like, well, why wouldn't you? It's ridiculous. So yeah, I'm glad we went with that. But it was an interesting idea. But I think that was the first exercise of have a couple do that, and she goes out, and she comes back in bitten, and it's all that. It was ultra claustrophobic. But I'm glad overall that we went outside in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I also noticed there was a couple of nods to Dawn of the Dead, especially right at the start where you're all kind of walking through the supermarket.
Yeah.
Kind of shuffling like a zombie, and you bump into that woman as well.
Yeah.
And I thought that's definitely 100% the Dawn of the Dead nod.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think I always like nodding to things like that. I think even the credits for Adult Babies was a nod to a John Carpenter film. You know, you just think, oh yeah, I'm gonna get that. I've got a chance to do this. I'm gonna do that. So, and it's in our blood now, isn't it? Every classic horror film we've all seen 15 times each. If there's a quiet 2 hours, I just go to the back of the room and get a Blu-ray out and stick it on. You know, for God knows how many times. But it's a comfort blanket.
Yeah, I mean, there was parts of the film where I thought it had a similar vibe to Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I can't see that myself, but right. I'll take that as a flattery.
You know, where you kind of shoot, you know, when it's how the tension builds, and when you're shooting all the countryside stuff, and you know, and then obviously when Joanne's character Meg transformed, that was a Fulci zombie to me. When you see her standing in the doorway with the face and the blood all around her mouth, and I thought, that's a Fulci zombie.
So that's where a lot of the money went as well. We were fortunate enough to have we decided to peel a lot of the budget to one side, because you see low budget filmmaking, and then when it comes to the gore, which is what everybody sits there for, you made everybody sit there for half an hour or an hour to give them the story. You've got to reward them in that last half an hour with a massive culmination and a climax. And plus, in the middle, to remind everybody, we had the fight in the garage with the zombie, which went all around through the car, under the car, around the garage. I mean, all that was great fun. But yeah, we just thought we can't skimp on that. So we had 2 Baldies FX, which were just great. Ian Jowett, Darren Graspy, geniuses. And also we got some stuff from America, like the rubber wrench and the rubber crowbar, but then the full scala eye stuff, which the contact lenses were just ridiculous. I think they were like 300 quid each at the time, which, you know, I mean, that was our budget for the food for the 2 weeks, you know, but we just thought, I don't want it to look crap. I don't want it to put it on afterwards, which would have been possible. And I don't want them to be that shitty little white eye that people put in as well, you know, because people just know what they are now. So we got is it called full scala, where it literally goes underneath the eyelid, then down underneath the lower eyelid, and awful to put on, but, you know, look the business. And then we had the sort that the blood has come out of the ears, the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. And that's how they walk around. And then you've got that presence of blood and gore everywhere, you know. So that was important to me, because also being a horror fan, you're like, yeah, get the horror in.
That's it. You've got to get the blood and guts in. And obviously, you mentioned the crowbar through the ear. It's got to be a Dawn of the Dead screwdriver through the ear reference.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah, it goes in the same place, yeah. The only problem with that is we placed it. It sticks it in the head. So we cut half the crowbar off, stick it on his head, and then we had to have fish wire, and people stood on the top of the Land Rover holding the fish wire, trying to hold it still, and then pumping like mad with the blood. And we didn't realise that the garage was on a slope going the other way. So as much as we pumped, it was just flying underneath the car. So we had to just get so much blood to pump it like mad, so that some of it came from underneath him to splash out. So, but we wasted litres of blood trying to get that on the camera, get the crowbar still, hide the wires. I mean, it was just a nightmare. But you know, it shows it when you cut away to that. Like even now, I see it. That's gritty and grimy and dirty and bloody and dark. And you know, I'm really proud of that shot. It took a while to set. Right.
It's quite that it's frenetic. You know what I mean? When you're
it was knackering to do. Yeah, I'm a lad of a certain age and size, and running around with Dave Nolan, who's a fight director, a movement director, and he was the zombie that was after me. By the end of that day, I was absolutely scuffed to pieces and exhausted. And he just brushed it off. He was like, yeah, fine.
But I mean, absolutely superb film.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
For a debut movie as well. You know what I mean? Brilliant. Because as you say, a lot of your low budget, especially zombie films, when it comes to the gore and the zombies, kind of they look a bit rubbish. But no, you could see it was well written, well made, and well scored.
I think there was lots of things that went for us that maybe wouldn't have done if we hadn't have got our stuff together. I think if we'd have tried to write it, it wouldn't have been the same. I think if we hadn't got Mark Price involved, it wouldn't have been the same. And Dave Nolan, but I do think the writing was great because it was written like he's written novels and screenplays and everything, and I just think it would have looked cheap as anything if we'd have got anybody else in but Mark Hillis, I think. But yeah, we were just lucky, and we didn't expect it to do anything. We just wanted to go maybe, you know, somewhere like Southend-on-Sea or something like that, or one of the smaller festivals. You know, nothing against them. I think they're great festivals, and they really, really do support debut filmmakers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just great. But we just sent it out everywhere, and hopefully somebody took a bite, and Fright Fest took it, and then from there Metrodome took it, and before we knew it, it was on in the cinemas in Japan, and then it had a week in this country, and it just went all over the world. It was so strange, and we had no thoughts of our thought was to make a film together, and it meant because I'm working all the time, we're ships in the night very often, and it was just something we could do together. And before we knew it, it was released everywhere and did all the festivals, and it was great fun to be part of it for that 2 years, but a little bit bewildering. And I'm just glad we could look at it and go, no, right, good, because we didn't skimp on that. We didn't skimp on that, and we put the effort in on that, so it was good, you know. But it certainly wasn't what we expected it to do. It was a complete surprise to us when it took off.
Oh, I mean, it's great, and it's got a very nihilistic ending as well.
Yeah, it's no hope ending. Yeah,
yeah. It's superb. So for folk who haven't seen it, get yourself Before Dawn picked up. You can get it on DVD from Metrodome. You'll get it on Amazon, 101 on Blu-ray, and it will be on the streaming, probably Amazon to buy or rent if you want to do it that way. And it's a great, you know, zombie flick. Great low-fi zombie flick. Excellent stuff.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
No. And then, obviously, I'm going to talk about adult babies. And there's more Romero references in adult babies.
Yeah.
Which right at the start, you know, Coming to Get You, Barbara.
Was Adult Babies our second one? Oh, no, it was Bait.
No,
was the second one, but yeah, Adult Babies was the third, yeah.
I didn't get to watch Bait.
I think out of the lot that we've done together, I'm proud of a lot of them, but I'm proud of Bait more than anything, just because it was everything we couldn't do with Before Dawn with budget restrictions. But when Metrodome came in and gave us the budget, it was great to do studied camera moves and have an emotional reason for the shots, and also having Jeff Boyle, God rest his soul, was the DOP, and we learned so much from him. But he was there to serve us. He'd go, well, I've got this shot, and I've got this, and he'd go, right, well, I'll like that, and I'll do this, and if you do this and do that, you think it was absolutely brilliant, because you can work with some DOPs and try and, I mean, not many, but you do get them. There's some of them are want to be directors, and so they want to put their stamp on your shots. And you're like, no, you need to like my shots. I know what I'm doing because I've pre-edited it in my head because we haven't got time to start experimenting. You know, I want it like this, and I've taken a long time to plan this, and I always do the shot list and the camera plans myself. So Jeff Boyle was great like that. He was really, really encouraging, and I think we worked with him 3 or 4 times. But he did Attack of the Adult Babies as well. He came back for that, yeah.
But no, I mean, bit from obviously it's been a while since I've watched it. Great psychological horror, and the loan sharks are really the monsters in the film.
That's it. It was done as a horror film, but without any monsters. Yeah.
Yeah, which you know what I mean was great. And I'm boiling that I never got to watch Bait again, so I could put all the little bits down like I have for the rest of the films. I managed to. And it was just because I couldn't find my disc, because everything's packed away. But I knew where the others were.
Yeah, no, sorry, I can't believe you watched them all. Anyway, it's unbelievable. I can't believe you just actually sat and watched them all for 2 days. Well, you are in bed, I suppose. You've got the time, but yeah, I'm flattered that you actually put the effort in.
That's it. And I've just stopped watching The Bill, which you were in one of your early roles.
I had one line, and I go, "Can I help you?" And that's it.
Yeah.
And I got like, I think 250 quid for it. I was starving to death. I just left drama school, and my agent was saying, "You're not doing theatre. You're going into TV and dramas." And I was like, "All right, okay, I'll trust you." And then I ended up doing loads and loads of adverts for Nina Gold, and doing all the usual Casualty, The Bill, all that lot, you know. And Soldier, I think I did, and British Empire, and Inspector Morse. I did all them and loads of adverts. So she was right, you know. It was great. She just said you've got an interest, and also because I didn't really look like an actor. I've got a face for radio, as they call it, you know. So she said, "Oh yeah, they tell you like you because you don't look like an actor. You look like a welder," which I was, you know. That's where I'd come from. So I think she did right anyway. Eventually.
Absolutely. No, but I watched the entire Bill, and I did see it in it, and I was like, my God. Which was just a couple of years before you got it. Emmerdale, really, as well, wasn't
it? I think it was about 3 years before.
Yeah.
I think I did that, and then what was the 2.4 Children? I think I did just before Emmerdale, and then then I went for the audition at Emmerdale. And there was about 8 or 9 people. It was only 8 episodes, and there was 8 or 9 people there, but they all looked like they were. You know, at the time, everybody had. You know, I've said it before. They all had like you know, the what's it called? Like the curtains, haircut, and suits on and things like that. And I just got this old jumper, and I thought I'm going to try and look like a farmer stroke rural vet as much as I can. And so I went in, and I think I looked the most like the part, rather than, you know, I wouldn't say I was the best actor, but I certainly looked the most like it. And I think they thought, well, it's 8 episodes, we'll give him that. So yeah,
they obviously liked you, because it's nearly 30 years you've been on the show.
Yeah, 27 years. I think they've just forgotten to sack me, and that's why I don't go upstairs. I just carry on. I'll just turn up every Monday, and they'll keep writing for me. But I think at some point, you know, I'm going to get the tap on the shoulder and go, "Why are you still here?"
You've done. You're up there for episodes. Like you're, according to what IMDb says, I think you're 4th or 5th cast member with the most episodes.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So that's not bad going, like.
Yeah. It's a good job I've got a good memory.
Mind you, the actor who played Alan Turner is still up there.
Who's that plays who?
Who played Alan Turner back in the day?
Oh yeah, Richard Thorpe, beautiful man.
Yeah, he's still quite up there with episodes.
Yeah.
So he must have done so many. But yeah, great.
I've seen, because Classic Emmerdale's on at the moment, and I keep watching that and going, and I can see myself, and it's me, and I'm walking and talking, but I have no memory of it whatsoever, just because the turnover is as such.
Yeah.
That some episodes are just exposition, and they just move on. And so, but the bigger storylines, I remember every single moment. I remember sitting there the night before learning it. There's some of them that are just breezed through, and you just go, "That's so weird. I can see it's me. I can see myself with a full head of hair, by the way, walking and talking." I have no memory. It's strange.
Brilliant. But yeah, adult babies. There's quite a few familiar faces in adult babies. Charlie Chuck,
Yes.
Star Harvey, Talia Zucchi,
Yeah.
Seamus and Sally Dexter. And obviously, it must be a bit of a good luck charm for you, Nicky Evans, old Roy Glover.
Yeah, I'd always have Nicky in. Yeah, and he played Maguire in Shameless as well. He's just great. And he doesn't really act anymore. He's happy doing what he does. He's a carpenter, and I think he was asked to do something. I mean, I won't say because it's not my business, but he was asked to do some big drama and be a regular in something. And he said, "No, I'm just happy doing this." But then he'll come and do one of ours, and we will only make a film every 2 or 3 years. It takes ages to set it up, Then the funding collapses, you have to start again, And then that one collapses, and you go forward with that one. It's a nightmare. But in fact, I don't know why we do it. And then, but yeah, he's great. Gives the ring something interesting turns up. So he's always there, and he's a mate. He's been a dear friend for years.
I mean, the two Russian guys are quite amusing in adult babies, and their device is bloody and very amusing.
Yeah, Paul Fox. He's the other Russian. He's been in 3 of ours now. Yeah, I like working with the same people. I'd either go on recommendations or people that I've worked with before, because every time I've worked with a stranger that you're not sure about, it sometimes hasn't worked out.
Yeah. I mean, adult babies reminds me of the films from the British horror films from the 80s and 90s, like I Bought a Vampire Motorcycle, Funny, Revenge of Billy the Kid, that kind of thing. That's what it reminds me of. And we don't have films like that anymore.
No, I know. Well, there's a reason for that, I suppose, as well, because we struggle to sell that one.
Yeah,
out of all the others, we've managed to get distribution and budgets, and I think this one I was supposed to be going to America to film something, and it collapsed with about 2 weeks to go. So I had 5 months to do nothing. I was doing up a Land Rover, and then I managed to get the funding for this. Just came out of nowhere, and they were like, "Oh yeah, great title. Is there a script? And we'll back that." So I was like, "Oh, great." And then I had to run off and go, "Jesus Christ, there's no script. It was just a title." It's like there was a bit of a breakdown for it, but there wasn't much. So it's great having Paul Shrimpton turn up and just go, "Right, I'll write the script." And he'd done Inbred as well. He was like a lifesaver, really. So we got to make that, and I loved it. And it was such a joy to film. And we had Carl Hall, the producer, who went on to do Banker Dave and all that. He's just unflappable. And also, you'll go to it because it's always just been me and Joe before that, producing everything as well, and also like other people like Bob Farrell and other friends that have kind of helped us produce, and Mark. But it was great to have a dedicated professional producer on board that was kind of, you'd go there and say, "Carl, there's these 10 things that need doing." He go, "Tell me them." And you tell him, and you go, "Yeah, but you're going to have to write it down." And he goes, No, it's fine. It's my job. I know what I'm doing. And it was just brilliant. It just made the whole thing float. And he was unflappable. He'd sit there, and he's a cigar smoker as well, like a big, thick cigar smoker. So he's kind of, so he looks that part as well. He looks like the producer where you have to knock on the door and come in. And he's got his cigar on the go, and you think, "Oh, I love you to bits." It's just great, He made it a job.
Because that's how I imagine every producer sitting behind a desk, suit booted with a big cigar. "All right, son, what you want?"
Yeah. And he was like that. So, and he knew how to make the money go far as well. And Mark Price was there again. Mark Price was his assistant on that one. He's great. And as soon as you get a problem, they've been there and done it before. I mean, I suppose I have now, but at the time, it's like, he's still running up against things. And so Carl had this great idea with that, where he said, "Well, where we film it, this place, which I can't remember the name of it now, but he said that we'll live there, and we'll film there, and we'll eat there, and we'll store everything there." So that saved like a massive part of the budget, and even the country roads that we filmed on were within the grounds, and the other houses that they came from were like a spare house within the grounds. And it was so we're all in like 4-poster beds. It was ridiculous. It was a massive, it was what it looked like. It was this massive manor house. And even the bloody bits at the end where we Sally Dexter gets chopped in half and all this, there's a big fight at the end with like meat cleavers. It's chainsaws and things like that, which was, you know, hard work actually over the days. We couldn't get any of that on this. There were pictures on the walls and tapestry there that was worth probably as much as the house. So we were not, and hidden cameras everywhere that we spotted as well. So they were keeping an eye on us. So it looked great, but then we had to find this little outhouse as part of a farmhouse. It was about half a mile down the road. And they went, well, we're going to be demolishing that, so you can use that if you want. And then there was also a bit in the big hallway at the end, and there was the Blind Institute in Leeds, and that was being turned into flats. So they just said, yeah, you can do what you want there as well. Just get blood up the walls, get whatever you want on. But the chap that had let us in came back at the end of the day and just looked at the hall and went, oh! You know, so even though he said it, I don't think he was quite prepared for the puddles of blood everywhere. And also, like, the people that came in and renovated must have just gone, what has gone here? You know, I hope that's not real blood.
Yeah, there's been a mass murder. This place.
It looks awful because obviously you go in for other takes. You don't always go for the first takes. You've got to move it around. So with the blood cannons and the shit cannons that we had that were flying out, you know, everywhere, you know, you'd have to move it along for a new bit of wall to get a clear bit of wall on like take 5 or 6 when it didn't quite frame the way you wanted it to be. So it looked, and I wish we'd have taken a picture of it at the end. It absolutely looks ridiculous.
But no, it's great. It's well paced. I mean, all your films seem to come in that golden spot of kind of under just 90 minutes or just under.
Yeah, that's purposeful. It's absolutely purposeful. I don't want to do anything over 90 minutes, really.
You don't need to.
No, I don't think you do. And if there is, there's flams somewhere. There's a bit in the middle that dips, you know, and I never wanted that. I think that's the thing with Before Dawn, bringing Nicky's character in it, because you think, well, you've had these two people all the way through for 45 minutes. You've got to introduce something new. So he come in and then informs them what's going on. Then we move on to the second half. And then, you know, you're not faffing about for another, you know, hour and 40, nearly 2 hours. I just don't want to. I mean, I'm a bit funny when you get a 70-minute film. You think, well, you know, I'm still paying a tenner for this DVD, and you've only done. But yeah, I think 90 minutes is just right for me. I think traditionally as well, it fits right. And accidentally, I think the first two were 90 minutes, and then or between 85 and 90 minutes, and then that's what I've always stuck to, because I always think, oh yeah, it's a good shape. That I'll sit and watch anything for 90 minutes without reaching for my phone and being told a story.
That's it. Easily, we've commented on it a few times in the podcast, saying 90 minutes is the ideal kind of runtime for a film.
Yeah, I think.
Also, I love the kind of the intermission stuff, and the old cartoons were a nice touch, but the claymation stuff was superb. I love claymation.
Well, yeah, I like any animation. So as much animation as we could get in. That's why we had an animation at the end of Bait as well, kind of post credits, which I wish we'd have put it just underneath the credits or stopped the credits and shown it, because I think you'd have to know it was there. And we've done that twice before now. I think with Evie and Wolf Manor, where we've had an animation at the end. Lee Hardcastle does the claymation, and Ashley Thorpe does the other animation that did like he did Borley Rectory, and he does the post credits for the other ones as well. And I'm just a massive. I wish I was an animator. I think I can't stop watching animation, even from Lottie Reinegger and all the old stuff like that, all the shadow puppetry and all that. I don't know why. I'm really, really drawn to animation.
But no, it's that claymation at the end. It's superb, and it's kind of such a bizarre ending as well.
Well, we didn't really know how to end it, because you've got to kill the monster. Like Roger Corman says, kill the monster, and that's it. And I think it ended with them kissing each other, and then it goes blank, and it just felt far too abrupt, like massively abrupt. So then we were like, oh, what can we do? And then I don't know who said it. I don't think it was me, but somebody went, oh, spaceships, you know, just get them coming. They come towards the Earth, and you know that like the adult babies weren't MPs and things who we thought it was, you know. So spaceships had turned up, and it's either the adult babies or it's that Seculius, which is the monster in the cellar. But you know, it's not stopped now. It's going to overtake the world. And I was like, oh yeah, get the spaceships in. That's how we end it.
Yeah, it was just like, I can remember when I watched it for the first time. It was like, what? This is mental. It's in that, you know, that them films that we love, that we kind of grew up watching in the 80s.
Yeah, well, I think even I remember at the time, like after it's shown at Fright Fest and it came out on Nucleus, they put it out on Blu-ray, and Trauma took it for America, which is great, you know. So it did do what we thought it did, but it didn't really have an international presence. Really, I was surprised at that, but it's very, very English, and I think it went well in France, I think. But what was my point? I can't remember. What was my point? What was I saying? It's gone. No, it's gone. I can't remember.
No, I can't.
No, I can't remember what I started saying then. Sorry. Yeah, I do that all the time. I waffle and then I go over on a tributary and then another tributary and I go, where am
I? Yeah, it's gone from me. I can't think what you were saying now.
It's some nonsense.
Yeah, well, I doubt it. You know what I mean? So,
I suppose what I was saying is that it felt like that kind of like very British, like Carry On film.
Yeah,
nurses in suspenders and fat men in nappies, and I think we thought it'd do really, really well. And when it didn't, I was like, oh, well, I made a film that I thought I would like to see, but it really wasn't. And I remember that the reviews at the time weren't great. And then going back on them, when we built the website for Mitchell Brunt Films, and they're all right. You know, more people liked it than we thought. I really thought it was a disaster at the time, but I think it's that thing you only remember the bad reviews. And going back and cutting and pasting them, you know, some really good reviews from some really good places. And I was like, it wasn't a complete disaster. I think it's just because it didn't go everywhere to all territories, which I kind of thought, stupidly, you make a film and that's what happens to the films. But I think we've been very lucky. I mean, in hindsight, it looks like only 20% of independent films actually get a proper release, you know, with a sales agent and a distributor.
Yeah. And then I know I've not got much time left with you. Got to talk about Wolf Manor.
Yeah.
Which I thoroughly enjoyed.
That was a joy. Wolf Manor was a joy.
It was. I love a good werewolf film.
Same.
And I love a lot of comedy. And you see all the nods to American Werewolf in London and the original 1941 Wolf Man with the wolf's head cane and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the costume was made out of yak's hair as well.
It was Sean Harrison. We were so lucky to get him, and I've worked with him before. And he's done the costume, did the costume for Evie, and lots of little bits in other things. But it was the first time he fully, properly designed this big werewolf, and I was like, yeah. And I think I was brought in quite late to that. I think there was already another director attached, and but it was a joy. You know, he's in Ludlow for a week, and he was just saying, like he said, even before you read the script, like, this is the setup, right? Don't try and change the script. What happens is these people turn up and they get attacked by a werewolf, and there's 10 of them. We spend the time in the film killing these people, and he said there's no real backstory and there's no allegory, but we mention the fact that there's no allegory, you know. And so the film knows itself. And James Fleet spends his time going, no, this is rubbish. There's no backstory. There's no depth to it and all that. So it's him talking about the film that they're making, but it's a nod to the film that we're making as well, you know. And I completely got that, and I was really on board with that. I was like, yeah, as long as you're honest about it, and it's not because it's a rubbish script, it's because you are setting this up as an hour and a half, different kills and different special effects, you know. And I just thought, yeah, all right, I'll do that. I'm going to do that, yeah, because there are horror films out there that are like that, and I like them. And I really like the script, and we were lucky to get James Fleet as well, who read the script and said, "Oh yeah, I'll do that," because usually his fee is ridiculous, and he turned up to do it for probably 10% of what he'd usually charge because he liked the character. We were very lucky like that.
But no, and obviously Nicky Evans is back in there. Supporters, and Talia Zucchi, she's back in there as well.
Yeah, all class.
Yeah, well. And it's a great fun, and you can see all the little Hammer references, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, we were looking, and also because we didn't have Jeff Boyle anymore. Jeff had died, and he had cancer during Attack of the Adult Babies, and it was I couldn't imagine working with anybody else, and I briefly worked with Ed Ames. who was just fantastic. He was great to come on board, especially because we were missing Jeff so much. He was great. And then he wasn't available. He got a full-time job on a drama, on a British drama, so he wasn't around for that. So I worked with Vince Knight, who just come and done. He'd done lots of stuff actually, and high and low end stuff, and really high end kind of dramas and films and adverts as well. He's like a genius lighting person, but he knows how to make things look like either sci-fi or horror or anything like that. And he's really going places. But he just come and done Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh, yeah.
Made me think, oh, right, okay. But you've got to keep. I mean, talk about a film that went all over the world. They were like in a different country every week promoting that. But he was just amazing. He was so good. He came on board because I think Adult Babies, we said we'd like it to be night shoots just to give it that claustrophobia, and everything looks good in the night, and we're going to have rain machines. But Jeff wasn't well, and he didn't want to film during the night, and it was either lose Jeff or get somebody else in there. I didn't know. But Vince Knight, yeah, he was great. It was very still weather for the whole 2.5 weeks, and we went through. It was all. It was night shoot, so we were all nocturnal. But what's it called? The smoke machines as well that were on the go, that was lying on the ground. I mean, throughout, there's not a shot outside without the smoke machines going off. But he was great. I can't wait to work with him again. He was just superb.
It's I like it. I watched on. I've got the Blu-ray. No, is it the DVD or Blu-ray?
I think it's just DVD, but it might be Blu-ray. I can't remember.
You're right. I've got that.
Lightbulb did that, yeah.
And I watched them. It's on Tubi. So,
is it?
Yeah, it's on Tubi.
Oh, that's good.
So is Attack the Adult Babies, I think. Is it that on Tubi America? That might be on Tubi America.
Right. I know that's on Trauma in America, but I don't know where else it is. You lose track of these things. We said that the other day that there's some things that, because I think you sign them off for 7 or 8 years with a distribution company, and sometimes they just you don't find out. I mean, you're like, I don't know, that's ours again now. So then you can renegotiate or get an aggregator and do it yourselves. So I think there's some films that are definitely due back to us in certain territories, but we need to get on top of that, really.
Well, I know Wolf Manor's on Tubi England as Wolf Manor, and it's on Tubi America as
Scream of the Wolf.
Scream of the Wolf. That's it.
Yeah, we've had that before where I think Bates was known as, I think it was deleted at first and then something else, and then they settled on Bates. And it's the distributor that has a right to call it whatever they want. They are buying your film as a product that they are selling. So, like with Before Dawn, I think we were doing well with we got some great reviews. I think even Starbus gave us a 9 out of 10, and we were over the moon. That was the day after it had been shown on Fright Fest. But then it came out on DVD, and Metrodome, the boss of Metrodome, Jez, said, he showed us the cover, and I was like, oh my God, there's like helicopters and burning buildings. There's a fellow with a gun, there's snow everywhere. And I said, none of this is in the film. And he went, well, do you want your film in Asda? Do you want people to see it? And I was like, yeah. And he went, well, there you go then. So you just have to take it on the chin and go, well, it's out there. Do you want people to buy it or not? Do you want it to sit there next to this? So there's nothing you can do. You just have to go along with it. And it did, it sold, but the reviews then were like, this front cover is a load of bollocks. So I was expecting 1,000 zombies. There's 3. It's not about, it's a fairly pole-faced allegorical, as we talked about, story. Yeah. But they sold it as this zombie Holocaust thing. And it was only when it came out then through 101, when Metrodome had gone under, 101 took it on and re-released it as a Blu-ray with the original cover on there. I love that cover, the girl in the gap in the kind of stripes, and I just thought I loved it. That was the original one that they kind of knocked on the head and said, no, we're not having that. We want to sell tons of them in Asda. And like, okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, I've plugged so far, and the other 2 will be going on to Before Dawn and Attack the Adult Babies. Were plugged on my Facebook page last night.
Right. Thank you.
October Horrorthon, and I'll be posting up Wolf Manor and Evie today because I've watched both of them this morning before I watch Salem's Lot tonight.
Yay! Oh, the new one?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I've heard good and bad things.
Yes, same. I'm just not going to hold the original up on a pedestal.
Well, it's hard not to, isn't it? Because it's an incredible one, the original. And, them images, I remember going into school the next day and it seemed like everybody had stayed up to watch Salem's Lot. And I remember being terrified at that bit by the window. There's certain little magic moments, aren't there, with I think even the original Woman in Black, where she flies at him in the bed, and you'll never forget that as long as you live, And the same as that Salem's Lot, you'll never forget that shot by the window when he's floating there, ever.
No, it's got. I mean, I've got so many great bits in it. And when the master goes into the kitchen, he pops up and all of that, and the Glick mother in the hospital.
Yeah, but like you said, there's so many that you shouldn't really hold anything up against the original, should you? Really, you should take it for granted what it is, But and also, there's definitely a generation that have not seen Salem's Lot, because I don't know where you can get it if they haven't seen the original one, and it's still a good story, and it's one of his best, isn't it? So
the original's on Sky.
Is it? For free?
For free, 2 parts. It was on Sky Sci-Fi a few weeks back.
Right. In the original 2-parter.
In the original 2-parter.
Hey.
So that's on Sky in both parts. I watched the Rutger Hauer and Rob Lowe one. Rutger Hauer played Barlow.
I've never seen it.
And Rob Lowe played the David Soul character. And
Any good?
It's all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Modernised a bit. Goes off on a few different tangents. It's it'll be 3 hours long.
Is it?
Yeah.
What did it do at the time? Did it do about
it was
at the time?
It was a 2-part miniseries on Sci-Fi Channel in the States, I think.
Right.
So it's worth checking out, because it uses a few different elements from the book that the original version didn't use.
Yeah.
And I believe it's going to be the same with this. This one's only just under 2 hours long.
Oh, right. Oh, that's interesting. Right. I'll be interested to know what you think then anyway.
I'll let you know. I know you've got to get off, so I'll not be much longer. We'll just quick chat about VHS, because I know you collect VHS.
Yeah.
What's your favourite tape?
I mean, there's different reasons, isn't there? I mean, I really like the design of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the red and white look. He's great. But for pure nostalgia, the front cover of The Exorcist is still, because it was such, as an item, as an objet d'art, it was one of them things that you were frightened of going into the video shop. It's like, I'm not ready to watch this yet. I've watched Dawn of the Dead, I've watched all these ones, and fallen in love with these, but I remember just keeping it at arm's length. I just didn't feel like I was ready, because its reputation went before it. I mean, we were terrified of it. Even the front cover, I remember my wife saying that she couldn't look at the front cover because of what people had said about it, and you'd heard of people fainting and throwing up and screaming and having days off school after they'd seen it. I mean, none of it was probably true, I mean, there was that the moral hysteria at the time. But I like the fact that I own it, and it's the original one from our original video shop. When they banned the video nasties, Accrington Video, the fella there, Brian, I still know his son, Lee Whitaker, he was my mate, gave us the videos and said I'm supposed to burn these. And we were like, oh, all right, cheers, thanks. So I've been hawking around and dragging around with me for years. But yeah, it's just nice to have that one in my hand. I'm like, yeah, this really means something. This is like history over... God, I must have had it for 40 years. I'm 54 now. Yeah, I must have had it for 40 years.
I mean, it is an iconic film. For me, it was Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, completely, yeah. I tried to show it to my son, and he was going, that makeup's rubbish, they're blue. It's like, yeah, and that blood looks really fake. And I was like, no, it looks iconic. It's unbelievable. It's brilliant. But, yeah, I think it's an age thing, isn't it? I think he prefers the remake, which was all right.
Yeah, it was all right, but it wasn't Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it had elements, but it wasn't Romero's Dawn of the Dead, which is one of the greatest films of not just horror films, but greatest films of all time.
Yeah, great narrative structure, everything, and it shows it was a good story and was filmed right because there's all the different cuts of it, and every one of them works. You can put different music on it. You can concentrate on just them all. You can go the pre-set up story and all that. It works so well.
And it's probably the best film about an American Civil War.
Yeah.
You can get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've just done this film, Civil War, but I'd said Dawn of the Dead's a way better Civil War movie.
Yeah. It's so well. It's funny that everybody, and because it is such an allegory and a metaphor for so many different things, and it's funny that even speaking to you said, yeah, it's definitely about this, and other people say, no, it's definitely about this. And that's testament to the story, isn't it? It really is. It's so flexible. It means so much to so many people.
Oh, completely. It's such a great film, but we're over time, so I'm going to let you get on, sir. Thank you so much for your time, Dominic.
No, thank you. It was an honour. It was just great to speak to you. I could have spoke to you for another 2 hours. I really could. And I feel for you being in bed. I'd have stayed here and kept you company if I could.
No, you've got time. But maybe if you fancy it, come back on another time and we can just talk movies and horror films.
Oh, yeah, anytime. I'd love to do it, yeah.
Because I'd love to have you back on.
Yeah, well, I'd love to come up there. I'm going to come up. I'm definitely going to come up. If I can get up there, I'll do it. I mean, I got up there to do the Hadrian's Wall walk, so I know how easy it is to get to Carlisle now. You just get the train up.
Well, look, 12th of October, if you're free, there's an invite out for my birthday. It's my 50th. Well,
I'm away. I'm in London on the 12th of October. Posh, dirty London.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, that's that. Dan and Lisa, I'm thinking, yeah, but I'll get up there because I follow your stuff anyway. So you always say when the screenings are on and that. But
yeah.
Either that, or I'm just saying, and I'll come and see you in 5 years' time, or we'll bump into you at Fright Fest.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you said you were going to come up and see us. Oh, I will.
Yeah, I will. 12th, is it? Right? Yeah. Again. Oh, I can't believe it.
What a bastard. But no, Dominic.
Right, I'm putting the phone down. I'm storming off.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. It's been a long time coming, and we're going to get you back on just for a general kind of 80s movie chat, so to speak, VHS chat.
Yeah, we'll cover posters and comics as well next time. We'll get into it.
I like your comics as well.
Yeah.
Probably not as abreast as yourself with them, but I do like your comics, especially some of the older stuff.
Yeah.
The horror comics especially.
Yeah.
Doom of Dracula and things like that.
Yeah. But we'll sort it out. We'll sort it out another day.
Definitely.
Keep you company while you're in bed suffering.
Well, that's it. That's just always so.
But I'll send you a VHS. I'm in Embden Bridge tomorrow at the post office posting something else. I'll send you the VHS of Adult Babies.
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you.
I'll get on with that. Right, all the best. I'm going to have to go.
Yeah, all the best, Dominic. Thank you very much.
Speak soon. Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Take care. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Danny Thompson, and you are watching the Carlisle Cult Cinema Club. Please head over to our Facebook page and hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel.